bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to continue our lectures. Actually, I was unable to do few lectures continuously for a few weeks due to the busy schedule that we had here. Today I'm going to talk about a very interesting topic which is related to Chittaja Rupas. Here Rūpa, so far we have discussed the 4 types of Rupas, which are Kammaja, Chittaja, Utuja and Aharaja in brief. And then extensively we studied the Kammaja Rupas. Now we are in the chapter of Chittaja Rupas, and so far till now we have gone through some certain aspects of Chittaja Rupas, such as the number of kalapas they produce, what sort of chittas are responsible in producing Chittaja Rupas, and also certain activities such as smiling, dancing, singing and so forth, and what sort of chittas are involved in these activities. Today we are moving into a very unique topic, special topic, the respiration, that is inhaling and exhaling, which is called breathing. Therefore, we'll first find out what the Theravada, the traditional Theravada interpretation is about breathing, and then we'll move on to explain how certain contradicting points can be found with what is taught in the doctrine and what we observe today. Then how to solve this issue based on the doctrine. So this is a quite difficult attempt that I'm making today, but the knowledge about the topic, the respiration, would surely help us to deepen our understanding about the doctrine. So the topic would be breathing. In Pali we call this, we have 2 names for breathing, Assasa Passasa and Kaya Sankhara. Breathing. A word used for breathing is Kaya Sankhara. In breathing we have inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling is normally referred to as Assasa. Exhaling is Passasa. But in some commentaries the words are interchanged, have been used in the other way. Inhaling is referred to as Passasa, while exhaling referred to as Assasa. It doesn't matter, it's just the change of the names. Then breathing, according to Theravada, is a Chittaja. Now, in breathing is a physical activity, inhaling and exhaling. What is involved in breathing is the breath body. Breath body. In Satipatthana Sutra, when the Buddha mentioned Sabbakaya Patisangvedi Assa Sissamiti Sikkati, as the Theravadians would interpret, the Sabbakaya refers to the breath body, the air, the amount of air which enters the body and goes out of the body. It's called the breath body. I would term it as the breath body or the breath. Breath. Now, this breath, according to Theravada, is Chittaja. Chittaja Vayo Dhatu. Chittaja Vayo Dhatu. As we know, Vayo Dhatu cannot exist alone by itself. It is associated with other dhatus as well. So this Chittaja Vayo is the collection of kalapas, Rūpa kalapas. They are called Navaka kalapa. Navaka kalapa. Navaka kalapas means these kalapas contain 9 Rūpa. 9 Rūpa. What are they? The 8 avinibhoga, patavi, apo, tejo, vayo, vanna, gandha, rasa, oja, and saddha, the sound. 8 avinibhoga plus saddha. Saddha is sound. These 9 are the Navaka Kalapas. In these Kalapas, collectively speaking, Vayo Dhatu is abandoned. Therefore, it moves, the breath moves up and down. Moves up and down. And according to Visuddhi Magga, no other Rūpa is found in the breath body. Exclusively Chittaja. Exclusively Chittaja. So this we have to keep in mind. Breath or Kaya Sankhara are Chittaja Kalapas. Chittaja Kalapas. They are all produced by the mind. Now, even just saying this, you would obviously get the question, how could this be? Because we are inhaling breath or air from outside and we exhale into the outside environment. So how could this be? So this is the obvious question that comes in the end. Why the Theravadians have labeled breath, which is obviously something we take from outside, as Chittaja Rūpas. Now for that, we'll come to that analysis discussion at the end. Before going into the discussion, we shall study how Chittaja Rūpa is, how breathing, Asasa and Passasa, or the breath, has been interpreted within the tradition in the Abhidhamma perspective. Right? So there are, now if I just give a brief explanation, how breathing is explained biologically, it's the respiration. It's just a physical biological process, and normally this happens automatically. Normally, normally it happens automatically without any deliberation. That's why we could sleep, we could breathe even while asleep, right? And this is regulated. This the process of respiration is regulated by the brain. There are certain places, these areas, I have mentioned it in the handout. I'll just read it out. Biologically, automatic breathing happens due to the functioning of a few parts of the brain. Medulla controls and contracts and expands the muscles involved in breathing. Speed of respiration is regulated by the pons. It is located below the medulla. Short and long breaths are decided by pons. All these parts of the brain are called respiratory centers. Right? This is for automatic natural breathing. On the other hand, deliberate breathing is controlled by the cortex. The motor cortex sends signals to the spinal cord, enabling intentional breathing. So when you breathe intentionally, cortex is involved. Mostly cortex is the place where all the intentional activities are regulated. In addition, in stressful situations, when the mind enters into the brain, enters into the fight or flight mode, we know in biology is a very famous statement, fight or flight. Either we run away from the danger or we fight back, right? The hypothalamus takes over the respiration and increases the rate of inhaling and exhaling, facilitating the being either to run away from the danger or to fight back. So we need lots of oxygen, and blood needs to be oxygenated, like they have to have more oxygen in order to run or to fight back. So therefore hypothalamus takes over the respiration at that moment. Now we'll move on to the Theravada perspective. Now in Theravada, whether the breathing is deliberate or automatic or natural, doesn't matter. It is Chitta is always involved in this activity. Chitta is always involved in the activity. Now deliberate breathing is obvious because we put the intention and do the activity, like I am moving my hand or speaking out words. In the automatic process, as long as the mind is present, the breathing happens. Now, Theravadians have named few out of all the chittas, 84 chittas, not a few actually, 84 chittas responsible for for breathing, responsible for breathing. Out of them, 44 are kama vachara, except 10 vijnana. Why is that? Vijnana do not produce, 10 vijnana do not produce any chittaja rupas, and the reasons were explained in previous lectures. Then out of appana, 40 appana chittas. It is the long method of counting, appana chittas. We exclude, so how this appana is taken, 23 fifth jhana, you have to minus 23 fifth jhana, because they are very serene, so they are not involved in breathing, which is a sort of a gross activity, because the body needs to expand and contracts in order for this thing to happen. Then fifth jhana, no fifth except the fifth jhana, and 4 Rūpa vachara vipaka of first, second, third and fourth jhanas. Fifth jhana vipaka is already included here, right? So 23 fifth jhana and Rūpa vachara vipaka of first, second, third and fourth. Therefore we take away 27 chittas from this list, 27 chittas. So what we have is, we normally have 67 appana chittas. When you take out 27, we get 40. Another way to count this 40 is, we take away the 23 fifth jhana. So we have 11 first jhana, 11 second, 11 third, 11 fourth. But we have to reduce the Rūpa vachara vipaka of each group. So then we have it 10, 4 tens. 4 tens means 40. Whatever the weight is, right? First because fifth jhana is not involved in breathing, so we need to focus only on the first 4 jhanas, first, second, third, fourth, each have 11. And we take out the Rūpa vachara vipaka, because Brahmas do not breathe, and these vipaka chittas only arise in the Brahmas lives. So when you take away the Rūpa vachara 4 vipaka, we are left with 10 chittas of each jhana, each first 4 jhanas. Then we have 40 appana chittas. So these are the 84 chittas that are involved in breathing. We go further deeper into this analysis. It was mentioned these 10 vijnanas are not involved in breathing because they lack the jhanangas. They lack the jhanangas. There's nothing to say about breathing. Every we would say every chittaja rupa, none of the chittaja rupas are produced by these 10 vijnana. Then we come into and the next point is these 84 chittas. Before going into that, these 84 chittas produce breathing or do the activity of breathing, this respiration, only in the kama world. Is a fundamental in Theravada, saying that the Brahmas do not breathe. They do not need the support of air. They do not need the support of air. So Brahmas do not breathe. All these 84 produce breathing only while they are in the kama realm. If you remember the chittaja rupas, there are 75 chittas that produce chittaja rupas, but only in the panchabokara realm while they are. Yeah, okay, there was an interruption in the Wi-Fi. So none of the 75 chittas that can produce chittaja rupas do it while arising in the arupa realm. So they all do it only in the kama realm. So likewise, 84 chittas that are involved in breathing. Now fifth jhana chittas, they do produce chittaja rupas, but they do not produce breathing. So as given in the text, breathing is sort of a gross chittaja activity. Unlike maintaining the postures, breathing is a sort of a gross activity. Therefore, fifth jhana is not involved in this producing breathing, respiration. Now, all the 84 only does this activity while being in the Kama realm, and it is also bliss in the Rūpa Brahma realms, that they don't need to breathe. Though we don't feel it as a burden, because naturally from the moment we came out of the mother's womb, we started inhaling, exhaling, and till now we have been doing that every few seconds. So there was no moment, mostly unless we have held our breath for certain reasons, or unless we went into a deep coma, we have been breathing always. So we don't feel the burden in that. But if you compare it with a Brahma, if a Brahma thinks about ourselves, according to the teachings, they would consider what sort of suffering these Kama beings are going through for breathing each and every moment. And they are struggling. It's sort of a struggle for the living, because in case if breathing stops, we will die. So it's an indicator of how much of struggle we are going through to maintain our lives. Every breath shows that the fragileness of our life. That is also one of the contemplations done in Marana Anusati. Now, they only does breathing in the Kama realm, and then except few occasions, obviously not at Patisandhi, not at Chuti. Patisandhi and Chuti chittas do not produce any Chuttaja Rūpas. So there's nothing to say about breathing. And then, as mentioned in the Anutika, which is based on the Yamaka, the last 17 mind moments, including the Chuti Chitta, the last 17 minds also do not produce breathing. It's referring to a certain statement given in the Yamaka. Kaya Sankhara does not pass away together with the Chuti Chitta. Kaya Sankhara does not pass away together with the Chuti Chitta. So if Kaya Sankhara do not pass together with Chuti Chitta means, if it is to pass away with the Chuti Chitta, if Kaya Sankhara to pass away together with vanish with the Chuti Chitta, it has to arise 17 mind moments prior to the Chuti. So if there is no Kaya Sankhara which passes away together with the Chuti, it means breathing has not occurred 17th mind moment before Chuti. And then obviously it will not occur afterwards. So based on the Yamaka, the Anutika suggests that Chuti, last 17 mind moments of a living being does not produce any breathing. So according to Theravada, breathing has to stop. The process of breathing has to stop 17 mind moments before the Chuti Chitta. 17 mind moments before the Chuti Chitta. So these are the extra information that even these 84 Chittas do this only while in the Kama realm, arising in the Kama realm, except the moments of Patisandhi, Chuti, and the last 17 minds before dying, right? Before dying. Then yes, Kama. Now, why does the Brahmas not breathe? Why doesn't the Brahmas breathe? There is no such a direct explanation I found in the text, but it can be assumed that the same reason why the Brahmas do not need the support of edible food could be a reason why they do not need any breathing. As mentioned in the Paramatta Dipani, Brahmas, Bhavanga Chittas are of very high quality, high level. And those Chittas, Chittupadas, contains 3 types of Ahara. Ahara are the realities that are helpful for the Nama Rupa processes to continue in the Sansara. Edible food, Oja, helps us for the body to sustain within one life. Vijnana, Passahara and Mano Sanchetana Ahara facilitates the continuation of the mind stream without stopping. With Passa, we contact with the objects and get to know the taste of the object. So Passa facilitates Vedana. Then vijnana also, with vijnana, we take the objects with vijnana. Then we does activities in order to, now with vijnana we see the objects, and wishing them we do good or bad karmas to obtain them. Mano sancetana ahara. Vijnana ahara is also a reason of, if not there was vijnana, we'll never be able to have a greed or anything towards any object, because we are not aware of anything like a tree or a table. So vijnana is necessary. So the objects that are seen with vijnana are craved at, then we do good or bad deeds. As a result, we are born in a certain life. So karma is also a very important reason in the continuation of samsara. Then when we are born, we encounter certain objects, we contact with through passa, and get to know the taste of the objects through feeling, and then we get attached to that. Then we again start to see the objects and keep on doing the karma. So likewise the cycle keeps on continuing. So these edible, so ahara also supports the physical body. So all the mentalities have a certain effect on the physical body. Therefore, Paramattha Dipani states that these nama aharas are not only supporting the continuation of the mind stream, but also the body in to a certain extent. Since the jhana chitta contains very strong mental nama ahara, the jhana bhavanga, actually not the jhana, actually the bhavanga chitta of a jhana, result of a jhana, arising as a result of jhana, contains strong nama ahara, so the brahmas are able to live without edible food with the support of oja. And so maybe that would be the same reason why brahmas does not need the support of breath for their bodies to sustain. So their bhavanga chitta, which is strong, which has powerful nama aharas, would sustain their body. I have given all this information. You can read it by yourselves. Then some chittas do not produce breathing, vijnanas due to the lacking of jhanangas. Then Rūpa, Vachara, first four vipaka chittas, why don't they produce any breathing? Because they arise exclusively to the brahmas. Since brahmas do not need the support of breathing, and that they never breathe, so the chittas which are exclusive to the brahma realm would never be involved in breathing, obviously. So first, second, third, fourth vipaka chittas do not produce breathing, as they are rising only in the Brahma realm. 23 fifth jhana chittas, fifth jhana is with the feeling, upekha feeling, which is a very serene jhana. The most serene jhana is the fifth jhana. You overcome sukha and enter the upekha, the equanimity. This serenity has within our literature, this fifth jhana serenity has a lot of effects, even to the physical world. So as why is that the Vehappala is never destroyed at the end of Kappas? Is because it is a realm where beings of fifth jhana are born. So fifth jhana is, since it's a serene nature, serene mentality, serene the jhana factor, upekha, jhana factor of fifth jhana, since it's a very serene mentality, it is not affected by any of the physical disasters. So the Vehappala. So it's not because of it's not that the jhana is affected, the Vehappala, the realm in which beings with fifth jhana are born, not even affected by the physical dangers. So it's given that that realm is very special because it is the abode of the fifth jhana beings. So this fifth jhana is a very unique compared to the jhanas with somanasa. So therefore, due to its utter sereneness, it is not involved in the physical act of breathing. Fifth is not to say that this is not to mention that the fifth jhanas are not involved in producing chitta. They do produce chitta rupas. They maintain the posture. Even the abhiññāna is a fifth jhana. So they even are involved in kaya vinyati, producing kaya vinyati and making bodily movements such as jumping into the sky, levitating, dipping into the earth and so forth, submerging into the earth and also all these activities. But this gross activity named breathing, it doesn't occur with the fifth jhana, and there is no exemption of the abhiññā citta as well, as I haven't found it. So it means that even with the abhiññā citta, one is not breathing, and it's just a one consciousness that happens in a mind process. So anyway, fifth jhana does not produce breathing due to its utter serenity. Right? So these are the information. Right? Why certain chittas produce? What are the chittas that produce breathing? 84. On which occasions they are producing or not producing? Then why do the remaining 37, right? 37 chittas do not produce? 10 viññāna, 23 fifth jhana, and 4 vipaka of arupavachara, first, second, third, fourth jhanas. So we have 37 chittas that do not produce chitta asasa passasa, and we just explain why. Then we move on to the fundamental number 2.6. I have given different numbers because it's difficult to give the exact number now. As we have gathered a lot of fundamentals. There are 8 occasions on which a being does not breathe. So mentioned in the yamaka vachanas, like ayak house. That is, ayak house means in Burmese, the books that explain how the yamaka patthana should be understood. They are like vachana magga. The way it is, the methods are explained in these books. So according to them, there are 8 occasions on which a being does not breathe. While in the mother's womb or inside the egg, obviously, a creature doesn't breathe. While being underwater, this is only for territorial beings, terrestrial beings, no? The ones who are in the terrestrial beings. Terrestrial beings are the ones who cannot live underwater. Aquatic beings, they, according to science, they do breathe. It's not counted here, right? So think about the men, humans, we cannot breathe underwater. While being deeply unconscious, a dead body after dying, obviously, while being born in the Rūpāvachara Brahma realm, being born in the Arūpāvachara Brahma realm, while abiding with the fifth jhana, due to the serenity of the jhana, while abiding in the attainment of cessation, Nirodha Samapatti, since there is no consciousness, no breathing happens. Now, this is the basic explanation about breathing. Now we plunge into the deep analysis of breathing according to Theravada teachings. Now we have to keep in mind always, breathing is breath. I'm not talking about the process of breathing. The breath, the air, the breath body is a chittaja rūpa according to Theravada. Chittaja rūpa. So how does this happen? Now this is how it is explained in the Theravada teachings, and you also should know that our modern findings. If I just give a brief explanation, normally, if this is the nose, there is a respiratory tract, and there is a tube, and these tubes end up in the lungs, right? So the air goes in through the nostrils. Air goes in through the nostrils, divide into 2 tubes and enter the lungs. This is how breathing happens. Then the oxygen is absorbed by the blood inside the lungs, and then blood emits, or blood takes away, exerts the unnecessary air such as carbon dioxide in the blood, and then it is being expelled from the lungs. So this is how it happens. we intake breath from outside and we take away put the breath outside, which is expelled from the blood, right? Which is expelled from the blood. So that is the normal procedure, right? Yes, it is removed from the bloodstream and expelled from lungs, right? But now, according to the books, Theravada teachings, is completely a different process has been explained. Now, this is the person, nose. So this system goes not to the lungs, that is very contradicting, which is actually not accurate biologically. So this line goes to the belly, to the belly, not to the lungs. It goes to the belly. Now, this is the navel. Now, air goes. Now, this is how the tract has been explained. Air goes in, goes to the belly, and it comes out. Why is that? Because we experience, when we breathe, our stomach expands and contracts. That's why we normally focus while breathing the expansion and contraction of the body as well. This is what is what the Theravada books explain, especially the sub-commentaries. So air goes in and it comes out. It goes till the navel. Navel means till the stomach, and then it comes out, comes back. Right? So if so, now I'll read the second paragraph. No, I'll just read the entire paragraph, 2.7. It is mentioned in the commentary that asasa passasa is a mind-born matter. How should one understand this concept? It is obvious that with the what is being inhaled and exhaled is an utuja rūpa. It is obvious, practically obvious. In general sense, breath is the air that is inhaled through nostrils or mouth. Gases such as oxygen of the inhaled breath is absorbed to the body, blood in the lungs. If the inhaled air is not suitable to the body or is poisonous, even the being could die. That's why we die normally, if we inhale poisonous gases. During the process of exhaling, gases such as carbon dioxide are removed from the bloodstream and expelled from the lungs. Therefore, it is clear that the air that enters the body and goes out of the body is utuja rūpa, because that air that goes out remains in the outside, because if you are in an enclosed room, many humans are in an enclosed room, the carbon dioxide rate increases, right? Increases. So, obviously, we are breathing in and breathing out some utuja rūpas. Even in Theravada books, it is mentioned that the air that flows in and flows out is utuja rūpa. The problem occurs not outside the nostril. The problem occurs while it is in the body. Explanations is very difficult to justify the explanations. But what enters to the nose is a utuja rūpa, and what expels from the nose is also utuja rūpa. That has been clearly explained. If so, what is the Utchitta Javayo Dhatu mentioned in Theravada books as the Asasa Passasa? So this is the problem. Now, how could, it's obvious that so it's obvious that while it's obvious that what we breathe in and breathe out is utuja rūpa, why did the Theravadians name this Asasa Passasa as Chittaja? This is the problem. If Asasa and Passasa are mind-born, they must arise within the body. That is another thing. Now, Chittaja Rūpas never arise outside the body. They have to arise within the body, inside the body, associated in the body. Right? If asasa passasa are happening only inside the body, without the external air, a terrestrial being would be able to survive inside the water. Obviously, we will be able to survive inside the water if asasa passasa is produced inside the body, and if it is sufficient enough for sustaining, for living, and a fetus must be breathing. We never experience such phenomena. Obviously, we don't experience such phenomena, right? According to the commentary of Patisambhida Magga and the sub-commentary on Visuddhi Magga, Asasa starts from the beginning of nostril and goes till the navel, and Passasa begins from the navel and goes to the nostril. That's the point. Now it starts from here. It's not how it is felt. This is the ultimate explanation given in. Some teachers say that is how it is felt. But if you look into the sub-commentaries, Theravadians have explained as the Asasa starts from the nostrils, edge of the nostrils, and ends at the belly button. And then it starts, the Passasa starts from the navel and ends at the edge of the nostril. This is the point. This is the contradicting issue coming now. And Passasa begins from the navel and goes to the nostril. However, before entering the nostril and after existing in the nostril, that air should be considered Utuja. This is also mentioned in the commentaries. Now, before entering and after existing, before entering and after existing, this is Utuja. Now, in between, this is the navel, nostril, nostril. In between is what matters. Now, this is the Asasa and Passasa. And they have also given heart as the middle because it goes close to the heart, left side, right? Okay. Doesn't matter much. What matters to us is the air in between these two areas. Outside is Utuja. It's clearly mentioned. But now, within this range, this has been termed as Chittaja. Therefore, as mentioned in the sub-commentary of Visuddhi Magga, Asasa and Passasa must be considered Chittaja only when they are found in between the nostrils and navel. Since there is another fundamental, Chittaja Rupas cannot be found outside the body. It's another fundamental. So we have to merge all the fundamentals while when we are building a certain argument, right? When we are building a certain concept, right? If I write it in clear, Chittaja Rupas Chittaja Rupa are not found outside the body. So if Asasa Passasa is Chittaja, as mentioned in the Visuddhi Magga, beginning is the nostril, end is the navel. And it is also obvious that we inhale from outside and exhale to the outside atmosphere. So there should be a certain distinction. So the obvious thing is we term while it is in the body, it's Chittaja, and then when it goes out or before entering, it's Utuja. Right? Then now this is where the issue comes. Now, what the Theravadians are suggesting, I'll just brief up what they are saying. Before entering, this is Utuja. Now, think about now we'll start from the exhaling. In the exhaling process, this is the beginning, this is the middle, okay, this is the end, middle doesn't matter much. Now, it starts from the navel. Asasa, Passasa, Rupa starts to arise in the area of the navel, and then it starts to arise in all these areas of the body. And we also know the breath body coming out and going in. So what happens is these Asasas arise in a certain area, then they arise in another area. So since according to Abhidhamma no Rupa Kalapa moves from its location, it arises in a certain place and vanishes at the same location without moving. What happens is, we have already discussed about this, the Rupas that are arising afterwards are happening in a different location. Then they happen in a different location. So we see the entire body is moving. So while my hand is being lifted, the Rupas that occurred in this location vanished in that place, on those places themselves, and then they occur in new Rupas occur in a different location. They also vanishes in those places. Then the new Rupas happen in another location. So we ultimately see a hand is moving. The same way, the breath body which occurs near the navel vanishes on those locations, the Vayu Dhatu, the Rūpas with abandoned Vayu Dhatu. Then some Rūpas occur again in a different location, bit upper, and they also vanish at the same location. On those locations, then new Rūpas occur in a higher place. So likewise, the breath body moves. The breath body moves. So this is how it happens. This is the beginning, middle, and the end. So during this, while it is inside the body, this is termed as Chittaja. They are Chittaja. While they have gone out, they become Uttuja. Then on the other hand, it's also obvious Uttuja Rūpas are inhaled from the outside, because if there is no air outside, people would die. All the tradition on those eras accepted the idea that air is necessary for living. Air is necessary for living. Then even Romans, Greeks, they understood this, right? So we are inhaling Uttuja Rūpas, which must be, we are inhaling air from outside, which have to be Uttuja according to Theravada. But then the inhaling process, this is the beginning. Inhaling, nostril is the beginning, heart is the middle, navel is the end. So what happened? The same process happens. Rūpas arise around the nostril, and then new Rūpas arise in different locations, and it goes till the nostril, like any Rūpa is moving, right? So this is how it has been explained, coming up and going down. The path of the breath body should be analyzed according to Theravada books, page number 2, paragraph 3. According to them, the beginning of the inhaling breath is at the edge of the nostril, beginning. Middle is the heart and the end is the navel. On the other hand, beginning, middle and end of the exhaling breath is the navel, heart and the edge of nostrils respectively. Therefore, it is clear that as Theravadians have considered, air that is inhaled goes through nostrils and ends in the navel. The exhaling air begins from the navel and goes close to the heart and exits the body through the nostrils. This idea can be verified with the information we find in the sub-commentary of the Visuddhimagga. I have given the full references in Pali. As mentioned in it, exhaling air initially arises in the area where the navel. When the exhaling air is moving, Rūpa Kalapas with abandoned Vayu arises throughout the respiratory tract, and those Kalapas vanish on the same location they arose without moving according to the theories of Abhidhamma. As the new Kalapas arise in higher locations to the older ones, conventionally it is said that exhaling air has moved up. That's what happens normally. Any body is moving, new Kalapas are arising in a different location. The same should be understood with regard to the beginning of the inhaling air becomes the edge of the nostrils, middle becomes the heart, H-E-A-R-T, not heat, heart. The end becomes the navel, and how the inhaling air moved downwards. According to Theravada, words asasa and passasa are used to refer to the air body which is in the respiratory tract between the nostrils and navel. So this air body which moves up and down is the asasa passasa. The reason is asasa and passasa has been designated as chittaja. So asasa passasa is not only is termed asasa passasa is the breath body while it is inside the body. That's what I want to say here. It's while it is inside the body, not after it has gone out or not before it has entered. Because the reason is asasa passasa is chittaja. Asasa passasa is chittaja. Chittaja asasa. Chittaja Rūpas cannot exist outside the body. Cannot exist outside the body, right? So that's why the reason is asasa passasa has been designated as chittaja. Mind-born matter can never arise outside the living body. Only Uttuja Rūpas are found in the outside environment. Alright? So if asasa passasa are to be considered chittaja Rūpa, the problem that now comes is, now it's obvious that we are breathing air from outside, which is a Uttuja Rūpa, and in Visuddhimagga we find asasa passasa has been termed as chittaja. So it cannot be existing outside. So we have to limit this to the body. Obviously, there is an issue why the navel was brought in. I would say that the air never goes to the navel while breathing. That is obvious. There's a huge problem there. Or anyway, just we forget about this. We'll think about now. We'll think that it goes to the lungs. Okay. Still, how could this be chittaja when we are breathing utuja rupas from outside, breathing in utuja rupas from outside? Now, first we need to understand what the Theravadians say. They say it has to be chittaja. So, since chittaja cannot exist outside the body, they had to confine this into the body. Where now they said is navel and the nostril. Okay, just think either it's lungs and the nostril at least. Now, this the breath has to be found only in this area as chittaja. When it goes out, it should be utuja. It is obvious to all of us that air enters the body via nostrils and goes to the lungs through the respiratory tract. According to the medical science, stomach expands. Now, this is the problem of the stomach. Okay, that's just one paragraph. The stomach expands while breathing, not because air enters it. There's a repetition. Not because air enters it, but due to the expansion of the diaphragm. I don't know how to spell it. Pronounce it. Diaphragm is there's a certain muscle in between the lungs and the stomach. It expands. Due to these few new findings, even Chandravena Mahathera has mentioned in the book called Bodhipakya Dhamma that it goes to the lungs, but it is felt as going to the navel. So this is what he mentioned in the Sinhalese book. It is true that the air which enters the nose goes through the one tube and enters into two subtubes and enters the lungs. However, a meditator feels as the air goes down as one stream till the navel and comes back up. The purpose of Anapanasati meditation is not to search for the actual track of the breath, but to concentrate the mind on the breath. Therefore, meditators must consider the breath body as one stream that goes down till the navel. So he is telling, because now maybe after the findings during his era, 1950s, it was obvious that the breath goes to the lungs. Maybe it was found even in ancient Ayurvedic medicine. I'm not sure about that. Maybe it was said, surely, they should have found that. So what he is saying is, even though it is felt as going to the navel, don't think, though it actually goes to the lungs, but it is felt as going to the belly button. So what we should be focusing, what is felt, not the actual path, because what matters to us is the concentration, right? But it is obviously mentioned in the sub-commentators as the breath is moving till the navel and coming up from the navel, the area of the navel. It's very obvious, right? I don't think the very clear explanations given in the sub-commentaries are referring to how it is felt. No, what they said is how it happens, is the actual track they have mentioned as they thought. Now, according to the sub-commentary of Visuddhimagga, it is clear that the asasa passasa means chitta rupas that are between the nostrils and the navel. But that same way, while being outside of the body, before inhaling and after exhaling is considered with utuja rupa. Right? So this is the place where we stop now. Now it is impossible. Now due to this explanation, it is impossible for us to prevent two obvious questions. I think all of you have this question. Whenever we say asasa passasa is chittaja, the obvious question it comes is, how could this be chittaja while we are very clear that we are inhaling something outside, something rupa that is existing outside, which is a utuja rupa according to Abhidhamma. Now, just forget about this natural question. Now we'll go into Abhidhamma explanation and try to see this in the Abhidhamma perspective. Now, utuja rupas entering, obviously mentioned in the commentaries. How could utuja rupa after entering the nostrils become chittaja rupas? Is a big problem. Now, utuja rupas becoming chittaja rupas. According to the knowledge that I have in Abhidhamma, I have no way to consider this. I have no way of considering how could this be. Because chittaja rupas are produced by mind. Utuja rupas are produced by tejo. They have two different origins. when a breath body, any physical body is moving, the Rūpa Kalapas with which the body was constituted vanishes in the same location and new Rūpas arise in a different location. Now imagine now if this was the nostril entrance, now these are Uttuja Rūpas which are entering the nostril. After the entrance, now these the new Rūpas arising. Now what we are saying is, till now it is Uttuja. After entering, it becomes Chittaja. After entering, normally what the Uttuja process is, Tejo Dhatu of Kalapas produce new Kalapas. Now according to this, these new Uttuja Rūpas are not producing new Kalapa. Instead, the Chitta consciousness starts to produce Chittaja Rūpas. Consciousness starts to produce Chittaja Rūpas. Right? So, there is, to my knowledge, I have no idea how this could be justified, because basic things that we study is Uttuja Rūpas are produced by Tejo Dhatu in other Kalapas, while Chittaja Rūpas produced exclusively by the Chitta. If there's a combination, right, for example, we have Chitta Pacchaya Uttuja, that is Chittaja Rūpas produced by the mind. Chittaja Rūpas produced by the mind contains Tejo Dhatu. That Tejo produces Uttuja Rūpas. The Chitta Pacchaya Uttuja. And those lineages just last for 2-3 generations. Now we are talking about the reverse order. We haven't heard about Uttu Pacchaya Chitta. Kamma Pacchaya Chittaja was there. Kamma Pacchaya Chitta Samuttana, something like that. That is, Vipakas are produced by karma, and those Vipakas produce Chittaja Rūpa. That was there. But are we talking about Uttu Pacchaya Chitta Samuttana? Not sure whether there can be such Rūpas, even according to Theravada fundamentals. Then, how could this be justified? Uttuja Rūpas after entering become Chittaja Rūpas. The next question is, on the vice versa, when Chittaja Rūpas, now breath is going outwards, which is a Chittaja Rūpa, becomes Uttuja Rūpa. Becomes Uttuja Rūpa. Or that this can be justified to some extent, because we have something called Chitta Pacchaya Uttuja. Chitta Pacchaya Uttuja means Chittaja Rūpas produced by the consciousness have Uttu in it, and they create new Uttuja generations. But the next problem is, according to Visuddhimagga itself, such Kalapas would last for just 2 or 3 generations, and their process vanishes. The obvious question comes is, does the air we exhale vanishes in 2-3 Rūpa Kalapa generations? No, because if we are in a confined room, if many people are in a enclosed room, we know that the carbon dioxide rate percentage increases within the room. So it means what we are exhaling exists outside longer than 2-3 generations of Kalapas. There's another obvious question that we get. Yes, commentators do say that Chittaja Rūpas, when going outside, like saliva or tears, which are all which can be produced by Chitta as well, when they go out, they become Uttuja Rūpas, even the semen. But the thing is, why do they last long? How do we explain based on Chitta Pacchaya Uttuja? But there is a way out within the Theravada teachings. According to ancient commentaries, very ancient commentaries, Purana Mahattakatha suggested that sound travels in generations. Sound travels in generations. The initial sound which is produced by Chitta Pacchaya sound, while we are talking, if my sound is to reach someone who is in this room, and if he is to hear my voice, according to ancient commentaries, sound has to travel and strikes at his ear. So the sound we utter here, chittaja sound has to travel. But even in the ancient commentaries, none of the commentaries except the chittaja rupas are traveling normally, to my knowledge. So what we have to the knowledge we have at the moment, I don't know how the ancient commentators considered about it. So if it is to be taken as a fundamental, these chittaja rupas have to stop. Chitta rupas will stop before getting out of the mouth. Then obviously even when it is going out of the mouth, but when we analyze deeply, it cannot have such chittaja rupas cannot exist in generations. Like if a sound is happening because of a previous sound, it has to be utuja. Ahara doesn't make sound, so it has to be utuja. So utuja rupas has to start even inside the body. Anyway, so when it is traveling, obviously when it comes to the outside, it has to be utuja. And it's obvious that it travels for a longer distance and strikes at someone's ear. So according to ancient commentaries, it seems like chitta paccaya utuja can last for many mind moments. Since that idea is rejected in the present Pali commentaries, we don't follow that idea which was mentioned in the commentaries, ancient commentaries. So according to the commentaries we follow today, this can last only for 2-3 mind moments, and it's obvious the carbon dioxide exists more than that, longer than that. Then if we take the commentaries, ancient commentaries, yes, it has some validity because chitta paccaya utuja rupas can last for some period, at least the sound, and this can be applied into this phenomena as well. But still, this problem cannot be solved. How utuja rupas are turning to become chittaja rupas while they enter the body, right? So this is the two obvious questions. According to the sub-commentary of Visuddhimagga, it is clear, then the next paragraph, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth. Under such explanations, it is impossible to raise it is impossible not to raise actually. Not to raise, it is impossible to avoid. That's the better word. It is impossible to avoid the following two questions. How could utuja rupas which were in the outside environment turn to be chittaja rupas after entering the body? As chittaja rupas have been interpreted within Theravada, it is not possible to explain such a phenomena. Chitta rupas are matter produced by mind, not a transformation of utuja rupas, right? Not the transformation of utuja rupas. How could chitta rupas which goes out of the body become utuja rupas? Chitta rupas which goes out of the body become utuja rupas. If it happens so, the new lineage of rupas must be considered chitta paccaya utuja. However, it has been clearly mentioned in the Visuddhimagga that chitta paccaya utuja rupas can last only for 2 or 3 generations. It is clear that the air exhaled do not last for a long period outside the body. This can be verified by the increasing of the level of carbon dioxide in a closed room where many humans are. It is also difficult to explain how chittaja rupas which are produced inside the body could become utuja rupas and last for a long period outside the body. However, this idea can be explained well based on the concept introduced in the ancient commentaries that the lineage of sounds initially produced by mind could travel outside the body as well. According to it, what is traveling is utuja rupas, and if the concept to be taken as a strong fundamental, chitta paccaya utuja rupas, at least on certain occasions, can last more than 2-3 generations. So these are, if you haven't digested or remember the fundamentals, this may seem something difficult to handle in this kind of a speed, but I have discussed these things in the previous lectures. So since this is sort of little bit advanced studies, don't worry, you will be able to, if you can read it or listen to this again, you'll be able to digest the idea. And also there has to be references. The references are made to the past lectures as well. Another way to think, now this is the problem. So even it can be verified with the ancient grammar. This may be okay. This may be to some extent can be considered okay. But how about this? Chittaja rupas entering into the becoming utuja rupas becoming chittaja rupas while entering. Now we may think about a mixed model. Mixed model, DEL, no model, yeah. What is a mixed model? Mixed model means, now after entering, I'll just mention like this, now Uttuja Rupas entering the body, and Uttuja Rupas keep on continuing. Uttuja Rupas continues. At the same time, Chitta is also producing the Antitaja Rupas. Uttuja Rupas. So, when actually what is inhaled is the Uttuja Rupas from outside, but after it enters, the Uttuja Rupa still remains, the generation still remains, but new Chittaja Rupas are produced inside the body. So, according to this, it's a mixed model. Both in breath, you can find Uttuja and Chittaja both together. And when it goes out, Chittaja Rupa stops at the nostril, only Uttuja Rupas goes away. When it comes in, when it enters the nostril, new Chittaja Rupas are added. Then another questions can, I just wrote one question. Easily two questions can be raised. Another. The first is a doctrinal issue. Why is that? Because in the Visuddhi Magga, it has been very clearly mentioned that Asasa Passasa is only Chittaja. Is only Chittaja. There are certain material parts of the body have been designated as Chittaja and Uttuja, like saliva, tears. Saliva can, according to Theravada, can occur due to mind and also as Uttuja Rupas. Sorry, the tears also due to sadness and also as a physical process. So, since certain body parts have been mentioned as containing two types of rupas, so if this was the reason, it could have been easily mentioned Asasa Passasa to be Chittaja and Uttuja. But it's only Uttuja, it's only Chittaja that has been mentioned. Only Chittaja that has been mentioned. Then, yes, Asasa, the in-breath contains both Chittaja and Uttuja. Only Chittaja to be considered as Asasa Passasa. It's a bold move that we can consider both, even Uttuja Rupas are coming, then Chittaja Rupas are also occurring. Then the next question which comes is, do these Chittaja Rupas occur all the time? Or does it happen only when the breath is coming in? If you have to take that both are happening, so then there should be a valid reason why it is happening only when Uttuja Rupas are entering in the body. Is it that if we don't inhale, is Chittaja Asasa Passasa is still happening in the body? Or why, if so, it should be happening in all the places of the body? Right? Why it cannot be just a breath body? Because there's no reason. Only when the breath body comes from outside, it is associated by Chittaja Rupa. So it means like when the breath body comes, only that part is affected by Chitta, and some Chittaja Kalapas are arising within the breath body. It's something, I feel like it's going an extra mile to explain something. So then if we are not in breathing, does these Chittaja Rupas that happen, do they arise? The same question, arise even while we are underwater, or while we are in the mother's womb, or when someone's nose and mouth has been closed? Do the Chittaja Rupas, Asasa Passasa, still arise in our body? And if so, why a being cannot sustain? So then someone can argue we are sustaining because of outside air, but Asasa Passasa is just happening, or it is the Chittaja Asasa Passasa is just happening or supporting it. So we have to have lots of explanations to justify this argument. Even the middle mixed model seems like okay, but there are certain questions that have to be answered. Then I would like to take your attention to a different direction here. Now, if we consider, yes, Asasa Passasa obviously is the breathing, there's a breath body coming in and going out. And we cannot deny, I feel we cannot deny that this is Uttuja Rūpa. If we are going to deny that, I think we are going beyond the obvious practical phenomena. It's obvious that we are inhaling something from outside and the breath we exhales exists in the outside. We don't need any justification for this. And if we are to take that the breath that is inhaled become Chittaja Rūpas only when it is inside the body, then we have to change the fundamentals. So add new fundamentals saying that like Uttuja Rūpas have converted into Chittaja Rūpas, or Uttuja Rūpa process stops and it is taken by the Chittaja Rūpa process. Now this becomes very complicated to my understanding. Then if Chittaja Rūpas going out of the body then could last for long periods than 2-3 generations. Yes, this can be mentioned based on the ancient commentaries. Some validity can be brought. If we are to take the mixed model, why Anapanasati is exclusively Chittaja Rūpas, and why Chittaja Rūpas are only happening when the breath enters the body. If it happens all the time, why can't a being sustain by that? And if someone says, actually we are sustaining with it, Chittaja Rūpas are only giving a certain support, then this now why is it only happening in the breath body? Does it happen outside the breath? Can't it happen outside the breath body? Now while the breath is moving here, can't it happen in different locations? So there can be many questions that can be asked. So instead of going to justify this explanation, which is also there's a huge problem of air traveling to the navel, right? So now instead like to take another approach in this. We also know that while we breathe, now take this as the human being, for instance, while we are inhaling and exhaling, now take it as going to the lungs, for example, which is what is happening actually. Now if this is going through the lungs, through the nose, now during this process we also experience another phenomena called expansion of the body. Expansion of the body. The body expands and contracts. Expands and contracts. So then the breathing happens. So we'll go into explain this in terms of how it is being explained biologically, right? So before that I'll go to 2.8. Breathing as expansion and contraction of the body. It is obvious that the air which enters the body and exists is a collection of Uttuja Rūpas. Then why is that Asasa and Pasasa are coined as Chittaja in Theravada? Respiration occurs only as long as the being is living. Now this is the point. Now another way to look into this, another way. Then this may affect other fundamentals as well. I know that. Though I am suggesting this is just a personal opinion that I am giving. I seldom give personal opinions. I refrain from that. I try to avoid it much as possible. But in this occasion regarding breathing, I see no other way to explain this. That's the problem. So based on the fundamentals given in the tradition and what has been explained in the sub-commentaries as breathing, I see a huge contradiction. So here I am attempting to make a new fundamental, which is a very bold move, which is a dangerous move, I know that. But I see no other way of explaining this. So why is it Asasa and Pasasa coined as Chitta? So I am going to stick to certain fundamentals but avoid some other things that are mentioned in the commentaries. Now, I am going to stick to the fundamental that Asasa, Pasasa is Chittaja. I am going to stick to that fundamental. And based on that, trying to explain how Asasa, Pasasa could be Chittaja and still breathing can be explained. Respiration occurs only as long as the being is living. We know this expansion and contraction does happen while breathing, and it happens only as long as the being is living. Therefore, the Theravadians might have named, this is another point, might have named asas and pasas as chittaja owing to the respiration process which takes place only while consciousness is present in the body. This happens only the being is living. In this regard, chitta has not produced the asasa pasasa but contributed to the respiration process due to which utuja air enters and exits the body. Now, this process happens. Now, asasa pasasa is the breath air, for example. Now, the breath air goes in and out. This body expands up and down. Now, this happens only. Now, the expansion, what the mind is doing, chitta, suppose this expansion and contraction, due to which the breath from outside enters and goes out. Chitta is doing this, supporting this process. At this juncture, it is imperative to investigate the respiratory process of the body. According to biology, breathing is an unconscious activity according to medical science. It can be done deliberately in some occasions. It is regulated by the respiratory centers of the brain. In the process, due to the signals sent to relevant body parts by neurons, muscles expand. As a result, the air pressure inside the lungs drop. When the volume increases, the air pressure drops. We know that. In order to fill the pressure gap, air from outside enters the lungs through the nostrils. That is what is happening. While exhaling, due to the signals sent by neurons, relevant muscles contract, reducing the volume of the lungs. As a result, air pressure increases inside the lungs and air goes out through the nostrils. In general, the body expands and contracts while breathing, and this process does not take place in a dead body. Dead body doesn't have this process. Now, due to the biologically what I mentioned, now this expansion and contraction happens, then the air goes in, comes out. How could this change in the body while breathing be explained according to Theravada? Now I am focusing on this movement. Breath body is something. This is asasa pasasa. This enters and goes out. Now expansion is something. Now I am dividing these two. Yes, obviously there are two things. Now what is this expansion? Expansion has to be, if something moves, it has to be vayu, right? Without vayu, nothing moves according to Theravada. So in order for the body to expand and contract, lot of vayu has to arise within the whole body, due to which it moves. And this process doesn't happen when the consciousness is not present. So it seems like this vayu, abundant vayu, which helps for the expansion and contraction, could be produced. There's a very huge correlationship between the chitta and this vayu. Therefore, while breathing, Rūpa kalapas with abundant vayu must arise throughout the body, entire body, during the respiration, making the body to expand and contract so the air can come in. The nature of, now this is the point that I bring. The nature of expansion and contraction of bodily muscles serves as the parameter to determine whether breathing is gentle or hard, according to Patisambhida Magga. Now, the word that is being used is kaya sankhara. Kaya sankhara. Passam bhayang kaya sankharang assa sissam iti sikkati. I breathe in and breathe out. Passam bhayang. Subduing the kaya sankhara. Making it subtle. Passam bhayang kaya sankaram passa sissamiti pisikkati. Khatamo kaya sankharo digang assasa khaika. Digang assasa khaika. So long breathing. Assasa khaika. That depends on the body. Ete dhamma kaya patibaddha kaya sankhara. So these kaya sankhara. Now assasa that comes in. Kaya patibaddha, depend on the body. Kaya patibaddha, kaya sankhara. They are kaya sankhara. Te kaya sankare passam bhintu nirodhintu vupasampento sikkati. So he breathes, he meditates, making this kaya sankara subtle. Making this kaya sankara subtle. So the breaths that we take in and out are kaya sankara. Right? They are long and short. So the meditator makes them subtle with the while developing the concentration. Te kaya sankare passam bhinto nirodhinto vupasamento sikkati. He meditates, making it subtle. We'll go to the next paragraph actually. Yatarupe kaya sankare hi ya kaya sa anamana vinamana sannamana panamana injana pandana chalana pakampana passam bhayang kaya sankarang asasisami sikkati. Now this breath body which comes in, asasa passasa, which also is kaya sankara, obviously, we make it subtle. At the same time, the grossness of the body, grossness of the breath, subtleness of the breath is decided by this phenomena. Anamana, vinamana, sannamana, panamana, injana. What does it mean? This expansion of the body. So if this expansion is obvious, we consider he's breathing hard. If the expansion and contraction is subtle, we consider he's breathing soft. So we can add the word kaya sankhara. Now this is the kaya sankhara, asasa passasa, which comes in and goes out. It's also kaya sankhara. At the same time, this process is also related to the kaya sankhara. Because when breath comes in, goes out, we have an expansion. Now, whether Theravadians consider the body expands due to the in-breath, out-breath, or due to the expansion, breath comes in, out-breath goes out. Surely they would have considered, I think, due to the breath comes in, the body expands. But now according to science, due to this expansion, breath comes in. These are two different approaches. Anyway, now there's a possibility, if we are to name other than breath, asasa passasa is the kaya sankara, if we are to call this also as kaya sankara, the expansion, the vayo dhatu which expands the body, vayo dhatu which expands the body, because it's coming to the lungs only, but the entire body expands. But if we are to take that the entire breath fills the body and expands, then this explanation what I'm going to give has no validity, right? Because it's because of the air it's expanding. But if we are to take that this expansion goes out and comes in as also as kaya sankhara, then what happens? Then what would be the fundamental that we can raise? The whole body expands and contracts while breathing. It happens due to Rūpa kalapas with abundant vayu. Those kalapas occur in the body depending on the body. Therefore, by definition, this vayu which expands and contracts the whole body is to be called kaya sankhara as well. Moreover, according to Patisambhida Magga, the subtleness and the grossness of kaya sankhara, the breath, must be determined based on the nature of expansion and contraction of the body. Right? So this breath depends on the expansion, contraction. At the same time, if we consider this vayo dhatu as kaya sankhara, its subtleness and grossness has also be understood based on the movement. Based on all this information, it seems logical to assume that chittaja vayo dhatu, which is directly responsible for the expansion and contraction of the body, as kaya sankhara, rather than considering that the uttaja rupas convert into chittaja rupas while entering the body in inhaling, and chittaja rupas turn into uttaja rupa when exist a body while exhaling. So what I'm suggesting is, but I also says this has to be further investigated because it goes against some fundamentals of the Theravada teachings. Because why I took this approach, because if we take the traditional explanation of Theravada, it leads to lots of practical questions that seems to be difficult to answer. So if we are to take this expansion, the Vayo Dhatu, which is responsible for the expansion and contraction of the body, as Kaya Sankhara, also as Kaya Sankhara, then seems like this is a process that happens due to mind, and the dead bodies are not involved in it. So it can easily be termed as a Chittaja Rūpa, right? So it's up to you to have a look into this deeply. So breathing, according to Theravada teachings, is produced by 84 chittas, and 37 chittas are not responsible for this. Breathing happens only in the Kama realm, not in the Brahma realms. And ancients considered the breath went through the nostril till the navel and came out, and beginning, middle, and the end of the track was termed as so. In the inhaling, exhaling, starting from navel, heart, and at the edge of the nostrils. And as long as the breath is inside the body is Chittaja, when it is outside it is Uttuja. Then we also suggested there is a possibility that we may consider Kaya Sankhara as the Vayo Dhatu, which expands the body and contracts the body. Okay, so I'll conclude the lecture. I have taken more than the time that was designated, but I'll give you a few minutes for one or two questions. Yeah.
May I ask my question?
Mr. Kama.
My question is, now in the process of respiration, if you do it concentrately, we have we sense a feeling somewhere in the system. If you do not concentrately, without concentration, we don't have a feeling. When we have a feeling, it is a material phenomena which will form consciousness. And when we are doing it, when it is happening without our concentration, I think it is Utujuju.
Yeah, if one can suggest that, but it is against the Theravada fundamentals. Yes, one can suggest that, but the thing is, Visuddhimagga has mentioned it to be exclusively Uttuja Rūpas. That's the issue here. Otherwise, as you said, while we are deliberately breathing, it is Chittaja. On other occasions, it may be Uttuja as a natural process. Yeah, it's possible, but we have to keep in mind it violates the fundamental. And also I myself in the end violated and suggested that another way of thinking into it. While my attempt was to keep Kaya Sankhara, Asasa Pasasa means to term not Asasa Pasasa, Kaya Sankhara as this expansion, the Vayu Dhatu responsible for the expansion and contraction, but to keep it as Chittaja. But if you prefer to take Asasa Pasasa also as Uttuja, it seems possible. Yes, seems possible. But still, the problem comes, Mr. Jayakodi, is even it is Chittaja while deliberately breathing. How could we explain air becoming Chittaja while inhaling intentionally? Do you get the point? Right? It's like even we are inhaling intentionally, we are taking breath from outside, right? So could this air, breath, body of air be Chittaja when it enters the body? Do you think so? Is it?
Yes.
Do you think that the body, the air that comes from outside becomes Chittaja after entering the body?
After entering the body.
But it doesn't make sense, right? According to Theravada, like if how could Uttuja Rūpa become Chittaja after entering the body? Now, what you are saying is like deliberately breathing is Chittaja, others is Uttuja. But even deliberately breathing, yes, my attempt is Chittaja because I'm making some attempt for the body to breathe in and out. But the air that comes in, because according to the commentary, the air that comes in is the Kaya Sankhara Vasasa Pasasa. And this is Chittaja. How could outside air become Chittaja when it enters the body? That's my whole argument in the main argument in the lecture. So I think even we take that approach, still the problem remains. How could Utuja Rūpas, which were already outside the body, turn into Chittaja Rūpas when entered the body?
Okay, I will listen again, and I will try to understand.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Avasaraya Swamini, Thiruvan Saranai. This is a highly complex area which I don't like to. I mean, if we are really discuss it, we need quite a lot of time. So I will restrict myself to two areas where I need to ask questions. Because right now I am warded in a hospital, and I'm sorry for the disturbances you hear at the background. Because this Navaloka hospital is always a construction site.
Are you sick, or have you visited the patient?
I had a heart attack, and
really?
So I can talk a lot about breathing because I have been watching my breathing on the machine, and they have been counting whether my oxygen levels are sufficient. So
first of all, I hope you are fine. I hope you are fine and recovered. Is it?
Yes. I am on the way to recovery. No problem. Now I am out of the intensive care unit, and now I am in the normal room. And I had no problem because my mind was working perfectly even at the peak of the heart attack. So there was no problem. So there's no issue about it. So I can clearly ask the questions. Really, the first question is, there is a mind control on the breathing. If you take even yoga, pranayama, they control, because the amount of air taken into the body and exhaled from the body can be controlled by the mind. That is clear. I mean, I'm not talking Abid here. It's just the physical phenomena which appears to me during the last few days on that machine. When I am connected, I can control my breathing. I can make it into a different pattern. Of course, that leads to my first question. Now, you have told us the Bhavanga Chitta do not produce Chittaja Rūpa normally.
It does produce.
Yeah, but it cannot maintain a posture.
Only it cannot maintain a posture, but it produces breathing.
Yes. So, in that sense, even when I am in a deep sleep, I am still breathing. So, obviously, this is controlled by Chittaja Rūpa. So, that's perfect. That's no problem. But then it leads to another question. It's a more biomedical type of orientation. Inside the womb of the mother, the fetus and the baby doesn't inhale or exhale air. All that process, actually from Abhidharma point of view, all the oja is supplied from mother's body through the navel. So navel is a very important gate when you are inside the mother's. So even actually the inhaling and exhaling process involves taking oxygen in and carbon dioxide out. But really the conversion of oxygen to carbon dioxide takes place in cells. That means all over the physical body and not only in the lungs. Lungs is only a transition point where contaminated blood with higher percentage of carbon dioxide is purified and carbon dioxide is released and oxygen is put back in it. So that's the process of the lung. Anyway, all that process starts after the baby is born to the world and not while inside the womb. So the life exists with this process or not. That is something which we are trying to derive from observing the phenomenon. So therefore, what is called in Abhidharma cannot be directly explained with biomedical. That is perfect, because it should not be, because Abhidharma's concentration is on a different aspect, and biomedical explanations are based on a different aspect of life. So therefore, there may be certain differences anyway which cannot be reconciled. Then the final part of the comment and the question I have to ask is, your final explanation is perfect, because we have been told in Nirodha Samapatti that when the Kaya Sanskara stops, that is really the breathing, Asasana and Pasasana, which stops after the fourth jhana. And So in that sense, your explanation of that body expanding and taking the air in and sending air out with the contraction is perfectly in agreement. So that is fine. So if that is the case, actually the other part you talked about Utuja Rūpa getting converted to Chitta Rūpa, even I don't see any reason why it should be taken that way, because the control of taking air in and stopping it is purely a bodily function. It's nothing to do with the air, but because of that bodily function, the outside air comes in, and when the process gets reversed, that air that came in goes out. Composition can change based on whatever the other biomedical processes it have gone through, obviously passing through the lungs. So therefore, that way also I see some opportunity to link that process of talking about Utuja Rūpa, which is outside, which is not part of the Sandhana or not part of the living being, entering the body, and moment it enters the body, it is under the control of the Chitta Rūpa. It need not be physically transformed into a Chitta Rūpa, but it is under the control of the Chitta Rūpa. So therefore, for meditation purposes and all purposes, to treat it as a Chitta Rūpa is worthwhile, because that is where the Sandhana has some link into it. That biochemical process is part of the bodily process, Rajakaya process, so which normally not paid much attention in Vipassana. So,
yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kesari, for your long and elaborating comment, even under some difficult situations. And first of all, wish you full recovery soon and may be able to work as before and live long. And yes, so then yes, the two things is another way to look into the Chittaja Rūpas according to Theravada. It seems like, which I am not delight in expressing in public, like as a fundamental. Personally, it seems like whenever a Rūpa is under the control of the consciousness, rather than saying Chitta Rūpa, under the influence of consciousness, it seems those Rūpas have been termed as Chitta Rūpas. But what we are talking is Chitta producing new Rūpas. But if you are to say that the Rūpas that are influenced by Chitta are also Chitta Rūpas, then we have to bring a new fundamental actually. If I become very strict with the fundamentals, then it's a new fundamental. But it seems like maybe that was the ancient commentators or the teachers might have taught. Like if any Rūpa enters the body, afterwards it's under the control of Chitta. For example, we think saliva. Saliva is produced as a biochemical process. Seems like Utuja. But when the mind changes, it oozes. So was it a new saliva that was made when how do we explain biologically? Is it the saliva newly created with our greed, or is the saliva that was already there in certain places exerted or came out due to our mind? If you ask normally, a doctor would say, no, it was already there and it got produced newly as a biochemical process, but the mind is involved. If the Dr. Billy is a jewelist, he would say that when the mind is involved, saliva is produced. So see, in the same way, I didn't take this approach in the lecture because we are bringing a new fundamental here. So thing is, after the breath enters, it is under the control of Chitta. Or another way is, due to the Chitta, due to the presence of Chitta, the breath is entering the body due to another biochemical process. Since the process, mind is involved in the process, though it's originally Utuja Rūpa, Since it enters the body, it is under the influence of a mind process, a process that generated or originated from mind, influenced by mind. So then maybe it was termed Chittaja Rūpa in that sense, or it a new Chittaja Rūpa, like in the saliva case, already it's a Utuja Rūpas which is coming out, but since it is influenced by the Chitta, the process started to happen due to the influence of a Chitta, then it was termed as Chittaja Rūpa. We are opening a new dimension of Chittaja Rūpa chapters, and this would lead to new fundamentals, because I was following the Occam's razor philosophical theory. Like we can bring a new fundamental and explain this, then it needs to be elaborated more and more, and I have to bring more and more evidences on how saliva, how tears have been designated as Chittaja Rūpas. But there is a possibility of saying that, but then it even leads and even affects could affect the functioning of bodily movements with viññatti, if we are to bring this Rūpas influenced by the mind are to be considered Chittaja Rūpa. It's not only regarding the breathing, that is a fundamental that would affect a huge portion of Theravada teachings as far as I have thought about this. So that is why I purposefully didn't bring this issue, what you are raising, and said that maybe the air that comes in being influenced by Chitta was termed Chittaja Rūpa. So, because to my knowledge, I know not only this breathing case, it would start to affect many other fundamentals in the doctrine, and then we have to, because as a person who is responsible of teaching the fundamentals and who has studied the fundamentals, to my knowledge, even to my limited knowledge, I know how much this would affect the other fundamentals. So that's why I purposefully didn't get into that topic. But as you said, it's the other way of mentioning that Rūpas affected by Chitta are Chittaja Rūpas. So that effect can only be seen within the body, and it is not seen outside the body. So whatever Rūpa comes into the body, such as breath and so forth, becomes Chittaja Rūpa as long as it remains in the body, though the original composition is Utuja Rūpas. That's the one point. Then the next one, as you suggested, yes, breathing as we know today goes into the entire body. The problem here is, so that normally that's why in breathing exercises, yoga and so forth, we consider breath goes in and it fills the whole body, and when it goes out, it takes out. But what normally happens is it takes time. The breath that goes in to go into the all body parts, it takes some time, as far as I know. So, but what the commentators have explained, that's the point. Like they have said that this is the respiratory tract till the navel, and from navel it comes up and goes out, and which is very clearly mentioned. Rerukane Chandavimala Mahathera tries to avoid this conflict, and he says it is how it is felt. It goes to the navel and comes out, though it actually goes to the lungs. Because of his modern knowledge, he knew this. But if you go into the sub-commentary, it shows that it goes in and comes out to the navel, and this is the path. So that's why I not, even though I didn't directly rejected it, to me, to my knowledge, it seems been already rejected. It's nothing to say about rejecting. But if someone brings another thing, one Dr. Ranjani Gamage suggested, it may be due to the expansion of the lung, which is another very good approach to protect the tradition, I would call. Since the lungs are expanding, maybe its expansion goes closer to the navel, So then it seems, yes, air is, because it goes into all parts of the lungs, right? So air may be going closer to the navel. So physically, the sub-commentary is not wrong. Like it has some validity. But when you read the commentary, it seems like it's taken as a one process, one stream going to the navel and coming out. Anyway, I'll leave that for the further debating. And yes, the expansion and contracting process, it is something that I would not rather establish as a fundamental. It's just a suggestion that I was giving. Yes, it has some validity. I also see that. Thank you for pointing out that it has some validity. And yeah, we'll see about it. So this is so far what I could explain based on the fundamental and the knowledge that I have in the tradition.
Thank you very much. It's a very comprehensive and a very interesting discussion. I think we should, I think the Institute should encourage somebody to do research and probably write a tika on this or digital sub-commentary, and that is allowed. So probably I would be very glad if I am alive to get involved in such work. Thank you very much.
Okay, sadhu. And maybe you'll be nirogi vivek.
Hello, Bante, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I have two questions. And the first question has like a sub-question. So the first question is about your explanations of the last two questions, right? So when you explain, you mentioned about two processes. One is the intentional process of breathing. One is the natural process of breathing. And according to the first explanation and first question, they say that the intentional process of breathing is just because we have the intention to breathe, therefore we breathe, and therefore the air is coming to the bodies, and starting from the nostril go down and get exit out as considered as Rūpa, and the elements of the air and the Utaja or whatever. So for you, there's actually two different and separated processes. One is intentional, one is natural.
I would say, according to Theravada, these both are same processes. What I said was, when it is intentional, biologically these are two different processes. According to Theravada, when we breathe intentionally, it seems kaya vinyati is involved. Like kaya vinyati, like there's sort of deliberate effort going on, and natural process kaya vinyati is not involved. So even according to Theravada, we see slight distinctions in the two processes, but we treat them together as one in this lecture. So I just highlighted these two. So and the questions were raised: are the intentional processes are chittaja, and other deliberate processes are utuja. Deliberate process are chittaja, automatic process is utuja.
So my question is that, like how for me there's no two things, like when you deliberately trying to breathe very hard, right? Because there's like the second person say that even when he was sleeping, there's some breathing going on. So basically for me, we are living, and this breathing process is always, I wouldn't say intentional, but there's always this intention to breathe. So therefore, as we continue to live. So that means that doesn't matter in whatever that you categorize them, there's always this intention to breathe going on. So therefore, as long as we are still living and there's this intention to live as life going on, as soon as the air comes into the nostrils, according to the doctrine, that would be considered Activitya Rūpa. Does it make sense?
But the problem arises when we are sleeping, right? When we are sleeping, we don't have intention.
Breathing, otherwise how would this breathing going on?
That's why I said, according to Theravada, breathing happens during bhavanga. There's no intention in it. If so, we are waken up from the sleep all the time. So we normally say while we are in jhana, the jhana chitta continues for a long period. There's no intention of breathing, but the breathing happens naturally.
Yeah, so that's why, isn't it like...
The intention doesn't need to be always in breathing, according to the doctrine. Because while we are in a deep sleep,
So that's okay, then what do you define intention? Intention isn't like, I want to be your intentions, and like this is the natural process of wanting to continue life.
No, it is wanting to continue live is something latent. It is not. It doesn't manifest as an intention in our mind, right? It's just a latent craving that everyone possesses except the arahants. So
that's what my question would be. That's the intention process. That's for me. That is the intentions of breathing. Therefore, the breathings happen.
It's not what I mentioned is intention that is arising in the mind. Like if I want to breathe 10 breaths within 8 seconds, I can do it purposefully, right? So there is a lot of deliberate, intentional focus and effort that we can interrupt the natural breathing as well. But while we are at sleep, we are not aware of that. While we are in deep sleep, the bhavanga is happening according to doctrine continuously, but the breathing still goes on, and bhavanga takes a different object, and breathing happens naturally as a physical process. So chittaja rupas is not necessary to be intentional. Like for example, if I am writing or doing something standing, my focus is at something else, but the chitta, that's what we have been discussing in the past lectures. So my intention is to do something else while my chitta produces chittaja rupas that maintain the posture. So for example, while I'm in a jhana, someone is in a jhana, his attention is towards the kasina nimitta while the posture is being maintained. So in chittaja rupa lessons, some chittaja rupas happen as a natural process from the chitta, even though our intention or attention is not given to that. Some chittaja rupas are intentionally produced with the intention. So that's why I categorize them as deliberate and non-deliberate breathing.
So for you, the definitions of intentional breathing is like when we are conscious, and then the natural process of the physical body is that the breathing is still going on, but there's
Yes.
no like consciousness of really wanting to breathe. Is that right?
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Okay. So but then so with that, let's say the second category, when it's naturally processed of the physical body, but there's still chittaja rupa. But then in this case, we're talking about the not influenced by the chitta, but the reduced by the chitta. Because earlier you mentioned if we are talking about chittaja rupa, if we categorize into different categories, one is reduced new rupa and one is influenced the rupa, is both considered a chittaja rupa. So the natural process would be the one that's not influenced by the chitta, but reduced by the chitta.
No, what I said was, as Mr. Kitsiri suggested, can't we, his suggestion was like, it was directing toward that. So can't we term chittaja rupa as a rupa that is affected by chitta? But that is not a fundamental. It's a new fundamental, right? So as you said, the fundamental is chittaja rupa is produced by chitta. Chittaja rupa is produced by chitta. So the question comes, Yale, is when breath, and we know we are breathing something from outside, and when it enters the body, if we are to term it as chittaja rupas, the problem is how could these uttaja rupas turn into chittaja rupas and suddenly be produced by mind? So that was the issue. So I would not, like, if I'm stick to the Theravada teachings, I cannot bring a fundamental like rupas influenced by chitta is chittaja rupa. It has to be something produced by chitta. Then if you add this to deliberate breathing and non-deliberate breathing, still the problem remains. That's why when Mr. Kamal asked the question, I still said, to my understanding, it still remains. Because now either deliberate breathing or unintentional breathing, yes, deliberate breathing, we are making an effort not on the breath. We are controlling the breath and we are controlling the bodily movements. Like we are giving a complete effort to our entire body, so we regulate the speed of the breath and the amount of the breath. As Mr. Kishiri said, even the amount of the breath can be controlled. Surely the speed of the breath can be controlled. So this is deliberate breathing. We are talking about the movement of the body that we are making with intention. Then natural process, still it happens according to the situation of our body. If it is too tired, if I have run I cannot even control my breath. It will still happens according to the biological process. So in these both processes, the process of breathing is something, the breath that comes in is something else. So what the Theravada doctrine is talking about, the breath that comes in. So even we say natural process is utuja and deliberate process is chittaja, if someone suggested, he's still suggesting the effort that we... yes.
Agree with that, huh?
Right? Okay, yeah. But if someone suggested, I'm saying, okay, if someone suggested these are as utuja and chittaja, he's still suggesting about this effort made on the body. So this natural seems to be utuja to that person, and deliberate seems to be chittaja, the effort that we put on the body. So if even someone suggests like that, still the question remains regarding the breath. The issue of the Theravada is regarding the breath. Breath, they are talking the breath itself, the air body that enters the body becomes chittaja after entering, while in the body, before entering utuja and after entering is utuja. So this question still remains, even someone try to see deliberate and non-deliberate breathing as chittaja and utuja.
Okay, so I'm not going to talk about the intentional breathing. I'm just talking about the natural breathing.
Okay.
Intentional breathing is completely different from what I think. But according to your explanation just now, if we take saliva for your explanations at the example, I do not have any past knowledge of previous references because I didn't take the class. But if you take the saliva, right, and we explain that to the breathing just for the breath itself, so the element, the oxygen, the O2 that we breathe in, right? So we do not talk about the process, we're just talking about the element, the oxygen that we're breathing. That oxygen, according to that saliva explanation, is also existed already in the bodies already. So the oxygen that we breathe from the outside and the oxygen is breathing in the inside, so that means if we use the same, explanations of the saliva, the breathing can be explained just the same way.
Yes, yes. So that's why
not changing from utuja into chittaja. No, it's just if we're just talking about the science or just the element. We are taking oxygen from outside along with the oxygen from our body. When they come in, take the mixed model, they become whatever, one air, or the air that you just call.
Yeah, it's it's obviously utuja. So what I said, the mixed model is someone can make an attempt in order to safeguard the tradition. What the tradition has said, what I suggest was, if someone can bring hypothetically a mixed model, saying that utuja Rūpa is coming in, at the same time respecting the chittaja Rūpa fundamental, someone might say a new Rūpa is produced by chitta when the air enters. That's what the mixed model I suggested, but still it has issues. So because the commentary because the commentary says it's only utuja, chittaja. That's the point.
Yeah, because but then the commentary says only starting from the nostril to the navel.
So according to commentaries, there's no utuja. That's the problem. It all become chittaja. That's the issue here.
Because their definitions of utujas is outside of the body. So when
no, utuja can exist inside the body as well, but only the breath, that because our body is made out of utuja, most of the part is made out of utuja. So only about the breath, when it enters in, it becomes chittaja. That's the issue that I'm raising in the commentaries.
Okay, so the breath that in the process from the nasal to the navel, then the commentary says only consists of chittaja.
Yes, that's the issue, sir.
Okay, so then that brings me to the second question.
Okay.
Okay, I make it quick. This is just, I don't have the knowledge, but then according to what I know, the air that we have, there's 6 different airs in the body, right? And when we breathe in or when we breathe out, they say that the air that we breathe in is different. So what you just said earlier, that according to the doctrines or whatever your explanation from my understanding, if I misunderstood, that is the same thing. It's just going from the nostril, go down to the navel, and it's come out, and that is would be the same air. But there's another teaching which I know that there's different airs in the bodies, right? And then when your stomach expands or whatever it is, it's not the same air as you breathe in. So how would that be explained?
Out of the six, okay. Out of the six, what we have talked today is the number 6.
So,
out of the 6, I was talking about the number 6.
So that means just only the type of air that is coming in and coming out, not the other types of air that circulates in the body.
Yeah.
And that, so those type of air that circulate the bodies, where is it, the region of it? Is Jitaja?
No. All 4 Kammaja, Utuja, Tichada, Aharaja, all are there according to the commentaries.
Okay, but then this will be only focused on the one
Yes,
that like
yes.
coming out and in.
Yeah.
And then, okay.
Anapana.
And then, so back to the second question and then the explanation of the patient. So he was saying that, okay, so like for the teaching that the airs go into the navel, right, and the belly expands. And for the science, they say that the air is going to the lungs and the lungs expands. It did not go into the navel. So I'm curious, is there like 2 different definitions of the breathing process? So what I mean is that the functions of the breathing, that's when the air is going into the body, it would go into the lungs. That is according to the function of a scientific explanation. But according to the Theravada Doctrine, that's in the process, the mechanical like journey of the air. It does not tell the functions of the breathing. It's telling the mechanisms of how the airs go in the Jitaja, Rūpa, that's from the natural to the navel. But it doesn't mean that that is the breathing process. So through that journey, the air can go through the lungs for the breathing function, and it's go down to the navel. Well, I don't know, whatever function, I wouldn't know. But then it's just explaining the journey of Jitaja, Rūpa, traveling from the outside to the nostril down into the navel as the end of it, like the terminal, the train, journey of it. But they did not explain because I didn't see, they're just talking about the Rūpa, the breath, body. They're just not talking about the functions of breathing, how we maintain this oxygen and carbon dioxide or whatever that is. So that function can be to the lungs, but they're talking about the journey of the air mechanically, like the train going, that is the starting point and the finish point. So if we take it into that case, and there is no contradictions between the Theravada doctrines and the scientific facts, no?
No, the thing, Sally, is according to the findings, when we are breathing, no air goes to the stomach. No air at all goes to the stomach. It all goes to the lungs. That's the issue here.
So you saying...
According to the findings, yeah.
So reality is when we breathe in, like the journey, the mechanical process of the air's journey is all going to the lung. There's nothing going to the navel.
Yes.
I did not know. You didn't mention that in the lecture.
That is normal. What I consulted from reputed doctors, they strongly say it goes to the lungs only. So that's why the neurologist Danjani Damage suggested maybe.
For the function of breathing, or
but no air goes to the navel.
No air is going to the stomach at all.
Yes.
So the air that we're thinking in our stomach, that is a different type of air.
Yes, it's a different type of air. Yes, exactly.
When we're breathing in the process.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kante.
Okay, so we'll conclude the lecture and hope it was a interesting one today. So next day I'm going to move on to explain kaya vinyati, 2 vinyati rupas. Now because we have studied the chittaja rupas, chittaja santati, we have studied about the chitta which produce chittaja rupas, and also some functions of the body based on chittaja rupas, such as smiling, singing, dancing and all this, and finally breathing. Then we move on to Kaya Vinyati and Vachi Vinyati, two different Rūpas, which will also be an interesting topic to understand, because when it comes to Vachi Vinyati, there are a lot of discussions to be done within the tradition itself, right? So I hope you enjoyed the lecture, and we took more than 40 minutes than the designated time. Sorry for that. And may this help you to attain Nibbana and gain more Dhamma knowledge, and also for the sustaining of the Buddha Sasana. Buddha Sasanang Chirantithatu, Buddha Sasanang Chirantithatu, Buddha Sasanang Chirantithatu, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu.